Today we're going to be talking about all of my favorite card making supplies. Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when I post new videos and give today's video a thumbs up. I will have all of the links mentioned in today's video down below in the YouTube description. Let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about all of the supplies that I reach for every time I'm making a card. Everything that I reach for the most. I'm not going to be talking about my favorite stamps or inks or anything like that. Just my basic supplies for when I'm getting ready to start making cards. We're going to talk about my Fiskars paper trimmer. I love this trimmer. I have had this for many years. As a matter of fact, this is my second trimmer. It actually has a nice lock to keep your blade section down. So if you store it like I do, I store it in my cabinet on its side. You can lock that so this part doesn't fall apart, and sometimes this blade will fall out as well. But what I really like about this is it has this really great little tiny wire inside of here that makes it so much easier when you're cutting your maybe a sentiment that you stamped, so that you can get a nice even straight cut along your sentiment. I have a tendency to stamp crooked. I can then use the wire to help me guide where I need to do my cutting. I do have a regular blade in here, but you can buy titanium blades, which I do have a couple of those. I just haven't replaced this one yet, but you can buy replacement blades for this as well. We're going to talk about the Scor-BUDDY. I have had this for many years. It's probably a good 10 years old. I've been using it for the longest time. This is by Scor-Pal, and they have a larger version of this if you want to do 12 by 12 card making or 12 by 12 scrapbooking or making 3D dimensional boxes or anything like that. I have the small one and a large one. This is the one I go to all of the time. It is great for making your card bases and creating maybe just a score line anywhere in your card. I do use on occasion the bone folder that comes with this, and it's just easy and convenient because it just pops right in there and it's always available to you. And what you do is just score down your line, and you probably see me do this 100 times, and then you can go ahead and create your fold for your card. This next one is my Teflon bone folder. I held off on buying this for the longest time because it's not cheap. I didn't see a need to have a Teflon bone folder, but one of the days I was just feeling it and threw it in my shopping cart, and it came home and I'm in love with this thing. So it is expensive, but it does an amazing job. So I'm going to just use this piece of black cardstock. One thing I really love about this this bone folder is that when you're using it, some bone folders will leave like a glossy haze or something behind. This does not do that. Even when you fold it back, and I'm going to use the flat edge to create my crease here, it doesn't leave any kind of like streak going across my cardstock, and that's what I love, especially when you're using a black cardstock. You will see that on there. Let's talk scissors. So I have my two Tim Holtz scissors. These are the titanium scissors. I believe this is 9.5 inches, and this is the tiny snips. I use these all the time. A lot of it's just for quick reach. If I'm cutting something small, or if I need to cut trim, some thread or something like that, I'll grab for these. And I'll also grab for my larger ones if I'm cutting a big piece of cardstock to, quickly cut out a piece of scrap of it so that I can use it for, die cutting or whatever. This pair right here is my Martha Stewart scissors that I have had for, I don't even know how many years. I bought it at Michael's, and I don't even think that Michael's carries this anymore, but these are what I use to do my fussy cutting, when my small stamped images to cut around it. I know a lot of people like to use the spring action ones. I like that these little tiny ones for cutting around my stamped images. So those are my scissors. Those are the ones I always reach for. Another thing I can't live without are my little EK Success tool tweezers. I love these tweezers. They're the kind that you squeeze together so that the top will open, and I absolutely love these. I've had these for years, and they're great for when you're working with not only just picking up, a stamped image or trying, to carefully adhere it down, or if you have those little tiny die cuts. I also like to use them when I am playing with sequins. Let's see if we can get a couple out here. Oh, that was way too many. Whatever. I like to use them so if I'm kind of playing with them and need to get them in a spot, or just kind of setting them out where I want to be on my card, I love these just for that reason. This is one of those little tools that, you know, you have in your supply, and it's one of those things that if you probably lost it, you know you'd definitely go out and buy another one. Let's talk adhesive. I'm going to start off with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, only because this is kind of fairly new to me. I've had it for a couple of months and I absolutely love this adhesive. I have yet to have the top of this clog. It always seems to be flowing nice, and I also love that it dries into a matte finish, kind of like the matte medium, but I really like this, and plus there's a whole lot in here. But like my biggest thing is the fact that the top doesn't clog. That's like my reason, my number one problem I have with liquid adhesive that come in the little tubes is that I just hate when that top gets clogged. So Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, quick drying, dries clear. It's great. I use it mostly for when I'm doing my sequins. Another one is this tape runner. I have not found this anywhere but at Michael's. I'm not sure if you can even get them online, but this is my dot adhesive, the one I reach for all the time. And I'm gonna grab a piece of cardstock. See if I can show you this on camera here. This is the one I reach for it, and I always hold it upside down. The one I reach for the most. It actually has this little dot, and hopefully the light can pick it up. This little dot adhesive, kind of like older tape runners that we've had in the past. You can rub it off, but it's a little bit difficult to do that with this adhesive. But what I like about it is it's not permanent until it's been holding for a little while. So if I took a piece of cardstock, like this little piece, and I discovered that I put it on crooked, I've got this opportunity to kind of move it around. So I just put that on. I'm just gonna pull it off. And you can see it didn't rip my paper much, but if I left it on here, it would definitely end up to be a permanent hold. 3M foam tape. This is the small version. It's not the small version, it's what's left of my giant roll. I buy the giant I think it's 36 feet roll of the foam tape by 3M. And I love this stuff. I went on Amazon just to see when the last time it was I ordered, and I actually have not ordered this since 2014. That is how long this foam adhesive lasts. It is my favorite for adding dimension, you know, putting behind a layer so we can add dimension to our cards without actually adding a ton of bulk. It probably took me so long to go through this because I have used a whole bunch of my other foam or dimensional adhesive that I had in my stash just to kind of use it up. But this is definitely the one I reach for all the time. It sits in my drawer right next to me here at my desk. And my other one is my purple tape. I love this purple tape for several things. First, I like to be able to take it if I'm working on a card base that might have a little bit of blending or watercoloring. I like to use it for holding it down to my work surface. But my other favorite thing to do, and you probably all know this already, is to use it with die cuts and to hold our dies in place. Now, one thing I know is that if I am die cutting something that maybe is still a little bit wet, like some watercoloring or something like that, this tape will pull up. So I'm just extra careful to make sure that it doesn't go into the center of my piece that I'm die cutting, so I don't tear off that somewhat still damp paper, because it will tear. And I really, really like these for placing my dies and going around those stamps, you know, placing my dies around my stamped images and getting perfect die cutting every time. Another one of my favorite tools is the jewel picker. This is by Marvy. I ordered mine on Amazon. There are so many different ones out there, but this one seems to be working really good for me. It's got two tips. It's got a smaller tip on here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up pretty good, but it's got a smaller tip. It's a little bit like a reddish color. And then it also has a larger tip in a green color. I mostly am using the smaller tip, and this is what I use it for, so I can work with my sequins. So I love this for adding my sequins, and you can even use it for adding those little tiny die cut pieces. So it makes it picking up and placing so much easier. My favorite stamping device or mechanism or whatever it's called for stamping on images is the Mini Misty. There are 3 different sizes to this. This is the smallest size, I believe. And when I purchased this, I also purchased the, recently just purchased actually, I should say, the longer metal piece or magnetic piece for holding your cardstock in place. I also have the My Sweet Petunia paper pad that you can put inside of here so that you don't get ink all over the inside of it. But one thing I did buy is the foam mat that has the plastic piece over the top of it. And you can see right there, there's the plastic piece. I actually took this sticky grid, which is by Sizzix, and put it onto my mat so that I don't have to use my magnet when I am die cutting. It's got the sticky right there. This is the sticky grid sheets. It's actually supposed to be used for die cutting. And I got this idea from Hedgehog Hollow here on YouTube. And I thought, what a genius idea. You put that sticky mat down there, or the sticky grid paper, and it keeps your cardstock so you don't even have to worry about adding or using the magnetic plates. So I went ahead and added just a stamp, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp out my sentiment. And this is what I really like. Usually if I take especially brand new stamps, when I stick it onto my cardstock and pick it up, everything comes with it. Because of the sticky piece, it actually holds it in place, and I thought, what a genius idea. And I went ahead and added this to a whole bunch of stuff. Like I have a Tim Holtz stamp press, and I also have the We Are Memory Keepers one. And I just like that it just holds your cardstock and you don't have to worry about those magnets. Makes stamping so much easier. So since I just messed up and inked up a stamp set, I'm going to talk about my Lawn Fawn stamp chamois. I have had this for a couple months and I've been using it on and off. I've been trying to kind of use up some of my baby wipes to use those and get them out of my stash. But I do pull this out often, especially because it's so convenient and sits right here on my desk. I keep mine in this salt cellar. This was an idea that I think that I saw on Jennifer McGuire's channel, and I like to keep it in here, and sometimes every once in a while I'll just even pour a little water in here to keep the chamois moist. Next is my Gemini Junior. You've seen a video, I've done video on how to use this, and I absolutely love this because it takes up so little space here on my desk, and it's so easy for me to go ahead and run my dies really quick through the machine. I have my plates here, and yeah, my plates are getting kind of warped, but you just have to remember to keep spinning them around so you're not always using the same sides and they won't get too bad. I have tried to use one plate strictly for die cutting, keeping the other one in good shape, so if I need to, when it's time, I just replace one of these instead of having to replace both. Since I'm already holding my die here with the purple tape, I'm gonna go ahead and run this through the machine, and it's so easy to keep this on my desk. It is a little loud, but it's so easy just to keep here and make it easy die cutting. There it is. Actually, it fell out. All right, so yeah, look how simple that is for die cutting. It cuts everything. I haven't had to use my shim, my metal shim, or found a reason to use the metal shim that comes with this yet. It just seems to be, I don't know, it just seems to be working out perfectly for me. So I wasn't going to talk about my favorite stamp sets or dies or anything like that, but this actual die set is one of my ride or die sets. I have had this for quite some time. It's by Simon Says Stamp. It's their stitched rectangle die, and I use this die set all of the time. And what I really love about it, so this is the one we cut out earlier. What I like about it is you have your stitched piece and stitched die not only on the inside of your die cut, but also on the outside of your die cut. So you can get some really cool layering techniques and do some really cool layering techniques with this to kind of build up that stitch, and even, you know, going from the largest all the way down. The largest is actually almost the whole piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4. You're just probably about 1/8 of an inch short, so you can do that little tiny frame if you adhere this down perfectly. So this is like my one die and my one tool that if I lost a piece of this or I can no longer order it, I think I'd be very upset. So this is definitely like a ride or die supply for me. Do you have one of those? Do you have something that you wouldn't be able to live without that particular product in your card making tools? If you do, leave a comment below. Mine is definitely this stitched rectangle set, and like I said, I've had it for years and I use it all of the time. So last but not least is my heat tool. This is by Milwaukee. I've had this thing for years and I've never had any issues with it. It's working great. I do know there's I think a newer version or just a new one by Wagner. It's the same tool as this one. It's absolutely fantastic. I love that it has the smaller top so that I can kind of figure out a lot easier where this is trying to heat emboss if I'm using embossing powder. With my other ones I've had, it was just, to me it was really difficult to see where I was trying to heat, and if sometimes I was overheating and ruining my embossing powder. So I went ahead and added a stamp to my mini Misty here, and I'm just gonna stamp out my image with my Versamark, or my sentiment rather. And I took that die cut that we just did. I'm just gonna throw my sentiment right in the middle of that. And this is just a good way to see how all of these little tools are so helpful to you when you're card making, except for when you bury them somewhere on your desk and you can't find them. So I'm just gonna use my tweezers to pick them up. And we're going to add our embossing powder. Now normally I should have done my little embossing buddy that would keep this embossing powder from sticking to places I don't want it to. So I might as well add the embossing buddy to our list. I didn't use it to add my embossing powder, but this little embossing bag I've had for a long time. I want to say I even got this at Stampin' Up, but I know EK Success has it and a couple of other places, but it's filled with powder. It's just like the, I think a lot of people use the ones that have the brush with the powder inside, but I've been using this, and you could probably see the powder blowing around, but it's great. So we're going to just use my heat gun and heat emboss our sentiment. How quick and easy is that? Absolutely love that tool. These are all of my favorite tools for card making and paper crafting in general. I absolutely love these things, and I hope you guys found today's video enjoyable and helpful. And if you're just starting out with card making, a lot of these tools are going to be the things that you're going to want to reach for and when you're just starting out. I hope you enjoyed today's video. On the screen you're going to find two more videos. The top one is my card making for beginners series, and the bottom one is a video that YouTube thought you might enjoy. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.